There's a reason why Pangasinan is known as the land of salt and the land of heroes and warriors. It is not only a haven of salt that adds flavor to its rich produce, but also of salt that enlightens and inspires to no end through courageous conquerors. Today, from the land where the fearless are born, those who take down oppressors and uphold liberty and prosperity, springs yet another mark in history, a literary inspiration, a well-deserved tribute, and a homecoming. 3 years ago, we witnessed the unfolding of the very first FVR WOW book, commissioned and published by Pangasinan's favorite son, Fidel V. Ramos, in honor of his father, the Ambassador Narciso Nanchong Ramos, on his 111th birth anniversary on November 11, 2011. Alongside FVR's commitment to inspire and move Filipinos through timeless words and wisdom. To understand the meaning of FVR's words of wisdom is to understand the impact of his father, Ambassador Narciso Ramos, has made on his life. Here is a quick look at some of the milestone achievements of the well-lived life of a true Filipino hero and public servant, from whom the first book was inspired. He was a loving husband and family man, with the values of honesty, integrity, hard work, simplicity, nurtured respect for law, and dedication to public service upheld in the Ramos household. It was no surprise that Nanchong and Ilang would mold the character of a future president in eldest son Fidel Eddie Ramos, a lady senator and ambassador in Leticia Leti Ramos Shahani, and a consul of the Foreign Service in youngest daughter Gloria Glory Ramos Daroda. And while already honored for accolades for being the epitome of an ideal Filipino father by different organizations, it was his children that revered Nanchong the most, in the person of his eldest and only son Eddie Ramos, whose presidency he actually prophesied more than 40 years before its occurrence. What Nanchong began is carried on to this day. That's the wonder of you. And now, 3 years after, we are back to introduce the sequel of the first WOW book. The second edition, aptly titled FVR, Wonder of Words. A timeless quotes of FVR and his contemporaries. Collected and edited by another pride of Pangasinan and Dagupan City, the Ramos family biographer, Melandrew T. Velasco. This book is another legendary product of Pangasinan, set to inspire every Filipino to make the world take notice and say, "Wow, Philippines," once again. Let's discover the makings of the second edition of the FVR WOW Wonder of Words. Behind the second edition of the FVR WOW book is an enduring legacy of a favorite son of Pangasinan and a compassionate leader whose hope is to impart nuggets of wisdom and knowledge to all Filipinos, especially present and future leaders, the youth, to be enlightened, to be inspired, to learn from, and to become responsible citizens. The book is a good companion piece, just like how the first WOW book came about, and what sets this apart is it focuses on FVR's 69 years of service as a dedicated leader. The book opened a chapter on Fidel V. Ramos as an enforcer and a gentleman. Known for his eventful climb in the military ranks, the determined Army commander and law enforcer, schooled in U.S. Military Academy at West Point for combat, and the University of Illinois for a civil engineering degree, showed his utmost for his countrymen when he led the military arm of the peaceful EDSA People Power Revolution of 1986. It was a shining moment in history for Filipinos and a turning point for FVR. After restoring democracy and keeping the peace for the newly established government, he himself has fulfilled the prophecy of his father Nanchong for Pangasinan's first son to be elected President of the Republic in 1992. Through his 6 years as president, FVR led the country to gain milestone after milestone, championing the adage, "Kaya natin ito." FVR took every opportunity to make the Philippines globally competitive and became part of a One Asia family through FVR's active involvement in the ASEAN and as chairman of the Boao Forum of Asia. He continues to impart sound views in the hope of boosting the economic, social, and political welfare not only of the Philippines but also of our neighboring Asian countries. Up to this day, as Citizen Eddie, the Filipino's kuya or elder brother refuses to be tired even while retired, but instead continues to take up his duties of citizenship in helping to build this nation and inspire his countrymen and countrywomen to do the same. Kaya natin ito has become not just his signature line in the lectured speeches he continues to give, the articles he writes Sunday after Sunday without fail since 2005 for the Manila Bulletin. It's not only the credo of his non-government, non-partisan organization RPDev is anchored on, or the large slogans like caring, sharing, and daring plastered on the walls of their office. It is actually how he lives and how he desires all Filipinos to live, with a can-do and have-done attitude that won't stop working to fulfill the dream of a prosperous nation. It is this same spirit that fuels the FVR Wow Book 2, a 600-page easy-to-read, handy, refreshing collection of wise quotes on nation building, leadership, best practices, people empowerment, and other uplifting anecdotes from FVR himself, spanning 69 years as a public servant. Targeting concerned Filipinos, especially the youth, FVR envisions FVR Wow 2 to be the go-to guide to every notable quote about the Philippines, leadership, good governance, and best practices to keep it afloat and steadily moving to victory. Through the Wow Book project, author Velasco has notched another achievement in his career as a book author and publisher that also pays homage to his province and rekindles ties to Lingayen Gulf, a place of utmost significance to all Pangasinan's sons and daughters. Lingayen Gulf is where a turning point in his career as a media professional took place, and where he comes to share a kindred connection with Fidel V. Ramos, the province's son of favor, and the current and long-standing head of Pangasinan, Governor Amado Espino Jr. In 1993, Mel was tapped by then-Colonel Amado Espino, then Pangasinan's provincial director, to be his events, media, and PR manager. In his 3 years with Espino, Mel helped mount milestone projects and events including Lingayen Gulf War, a crusade to save the endangered historic Lingayen Gulf, and the 50th Lingayen Gulf landings and the Palarong Pambansa in 1995, a project which Governor Espino, on the other hand, was the social engineer and overall instigator. Espino himself has been a great factor during the Ramos administration by seeing to it that 2 flagship projects such as the Sual Coal Power Plant and the San Roque Multipurpose Dam in San Manuel would be started and completed even before his term as provincial governor began. He has always fought for Pangasinan's welfare, even as a dedicated police and military officer, police director, and intelligence chief. It was only a matter of time after these Lingayen Gulf projects that Mel would finally cross paths with Fidel V. Ramos for whom his first ever book project was to write the centennial biography of none other than Ambassador Narciso Ramos, entitled Nanchong, which was later on released in a second edition entitled An Enduring Legacy, The Life and Times of Ambassador Narciso Roeca Ramos. For author Mel Velasco, who recently staged with FVR the Filipinas Roadshow for his best-selling book Silver Linings, 25 Years of the People Power Revolution in key cities of the United States and Philippines, and just completed a coffee table book titled Building Bridges of Hope and Love, celebrating 50 years of Kiwanis in the Philippines. The second edition of the FVR Wow book is another chance for him to again give back to his home province, Pangasinan. In the land of salt and the land of heroes, a new pride of Pangasinan indeed springs forth, a literary inspiration, a well-deserved tribute, and a homecoming all in one. But more so, a declaration to the world that with enough dose of words wisdom from those that have come before us, those rich in experience and know-how, and by following the footsteps of a remarkable legacy, we can once again see the world enthralled, be wowed to no end. This is FVR Wonder of Words, Book 2.
Saludo kami sa'yo. Saludo kami sa'yo.